All right, this is the last time I'm doing this episode because this is like, I don't know, the 10th time I've started over again. There's some problem with the audio, and if you do hear that, whatever. Greetings, listener. My name is Timur Tlaganzerg, and I'm an English teacher from Mongolia, currently teaching and living in Bangkok, Thailand. So far, so good. The food is great, the people are nice, and, there are lots to see. This is my podcast, Deep Dive, where I, your host, explore different topics and my experiences with them. Now, these topics will be related to anything involving sort of your inner journey, I'd say. Peace, contentment, self-awareness, love, relationships, etc., etc. I'm more interested in those things at this stage in my life, and I'd like to sort of explore it more. But I'm also using this to improve my English speaking skills, as I just said. Because, wait, did I say it? I don't know. But, I feel like my English skills have definitely gotten worse after moving to Thailand. For some reason, I don't know. Maybe it's teaching, kids who are learning English as their second language, but it's all right. I just need to practice a little bit, need to refresh my mind. So let's get to it. The topic for today is inner peace and contentment. So what can I say about inner peace and contentment? I've been on a journey, I'd say, to reach a peaceful state of mind, like a very calm, peaceful, not worrying about the past, not thinking about the future, just sort of present in all situations as much as possible. Obviously, there are some things to look forward to in the future, and there are also some things to look back and just think and reflect and learn from. But what I'm aiming to do currently, because in the past few years, I've mainly been focused on my future, and especially in the past 2 years, I've been stuck in the past, just thinking and regretting and wondering all these things, how it could have gone, what kind of mistakes I did or made. And in both situations, I wouldn't say it's bad necessarily, because there were a lot of things to plan for, and there were a lot of things to reflect on, because as time passes, just all my experiences kind of built up, and I was just there to take it all in and learn from them as much as I could. But anyways, the reason I'm looking for inner peace right now is, because of that, because I want to be centered, because I want to be present, because I want to be in the now, in this place, wherever I am, and just enjoy the moment, because I feel like this is something that a lot of old people in interviews, they say stuff like, if I were young, or if I talk to my younger self, the advice I would give them is, just stay present, enjoy the time, enjoy the current time enjoy the present time. Fuck me. Enjoy the present time with your family, your friends, your loved ones, try out different experiences, do this and that. So that's what I want to focus on. Although I haven't really tried any new experiences in the past month and a half since I came here. I do feel like the other parts of this whole peace thing have, I know the puzzle pieces, and I'm trying to put them all together. But yeah, what I think inner peace and contentment is, that's a big question. So I just found this question in my head. I just created this question in my head. But yeah, so inner peace, I'd say, is, I wouldn't say it's not feeling negative emotions, because that's what I was like before. I was very negative. I was always angry. I was always sad. I was always depressed. I was jealous. I was envious. I was loathsome. And I was judgmental, and I had all these different thoughts in my mind, and I couldn't get out of it. It was so difficult. And, I used to make content before, and, I had a decent following. I wouldn't say super large, but I'd say significant. And that sort of went to my head, and, it really didn't help, because I was constantly online. I was constantly interacting with people's persona online, because that's not really who they are in real life. That's just the persona that they sort of portray online to be this either smart person or this funny person, this troll, or, whatever, right? And I was sort of interacting with those people from not from like my persona standpoint, but personally, right? Um, and I didn't really enjoy it that much. Um, People would write negative comments, and I would be super pissed off, and I would just want to like slap them in the face. But I know that it's never going to happen because that person will never say it to my face, and there wouldn't be a chance for me to slap them across their face because, I mean, when is really that ever going to happen? And I just didn't enjoy the whole process because, let's say, of being famous. Although I wasn't like super super famous, like a fucking rock star or anything, a lot of people sort of knew me. I was kind of like a friendly face, and so they would see me and they would come and ask for my autograph one time. That was so weird. They would ask to take pictures with me, and I'd feel kind of awkward. And it was one of those things where you think you will really enjoy it once you get it, and then once you get it, you're like, okay, well, I kind of don't like this anymore because I do want my privacy. I do want my personal life to be there, but you can't really get the best of both worlds when you're in that kind of space. So I was mostly worried about what other people thought of me and what I thought of other people and how I can sort of connect these things and create content that people will enjoy and further my business, because it's not just me making content and looking dumb. It was me making content and looking dumb in order to make money, in order to pursue my business, in order to forward my business. And I don't think that was anything related. I mean, I don't feel like I found peace within myself. I think I was just like outwardly displaying a lot of negativity, and even inside my own head, it was more fucked up than how I was treating other people outside of myself, And I didn't enjoy it. I did that for like 4 to 5 years, I'd say. So this year I sold my business and realized, and then I before I sold my business, I planned to come to Thailand and just chill here for like a year or two, find my inner peace, find where I want to go next, find what to do, find how I want to approach life in the future. And yeah, that's what I'm here to do. And this podcast is just a way, I guess, for me to record and note down. There's one word I want to use here, but I forgot. But yeah, like sort of note down and keep track of how that's going. So this is like my first podcast, and maybe next year around July, August, when I do my last one before I move out of Bangkok or Thailand, supposedly, I don't know. I'll see how I've progressed between, September 2024 all the way to September 2025. Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to do. Hopefully everything goes well. So yeah, let's go back to the topic of inner peace and contentment. So why is it necessary to find inner peace for me, especially? Because I do have a daughter, and I have jumped around from relationship to relationship in the past few years, especially trying to find that person kind of to like, be my life partner and continue my life with. But I realize now that as long as I am this kind of person, I don't think I will be able to find someone who is worthy to love me and also worthy to be loved by me. So I need to change. The person inside me needs to change. And I think one of the first things that I need to do is to let go of all this hatred and let go of all these thoughts of whatever. I can't even think of the words to describe all these different thoughts because they're just terrible. And I really don't like them. So I think that's why, in order for me to live a happy life, I feel like I need to find peace. But then, there are quotes online, and happiness is never the goal. Happiness is the byproduct of you pursuing something. And I thought, okay, well, my pursuit right now is not happiness. My pursuit right now is to be content. My pursuit right now is to understand the value of the things that I currently have, and to be happy with the fact that, I'm okay with having this or that, and I'm okay with not having that or this. So it's important for me to right now just focus on the now be mindful as much as I can. Take things one step at a time, because I'm only 28. Oh, today is the 28th of September. Yeah, I'm only 28, and there's so many things I need to learn. And in order for me to be the type of person to learn all those things, to be a better father, to be a better member of society, to be a better leader in the future when I start another business, if I decide to be a better teacher even, to be a better friend, to be a better son, to be a better brother, it's important and it's vital for me to find inner peace. I'm not sure if I was coming to this, but I think I was trying to say something else. But yeah, so I think this is why it's necessary to just, be a better person, find inner peace, be less negative, all that stuff. And the last question I have here for this introduction segment, I'd say, is how do you feel content with the thing? Oh my God, this sound. So in Bangkok, Thailand, one interesting thing is every single day there are these ambulances just sounding their alarms in the streets, and it's so annoying. I feel like there's so many crimes happening here in Bangkok that people just don't know about, but it's all over the news sometimes when someone is like throws a Molotov cocktail, or there was a gunfight in Prakanong or whatever, right? Anyway, so the last question here I have for this segment is, how do you feel content with the things you have? And I think that's one of the things that I'm trying to learn right now, is how do I feel content with the things I have? So what do I have, right? And sort of mentally making a list of the things I have and saying, okay, I have this, I have that. There's a little bit of comparison happening, and I don't think I should enjoy it as much. Like, for example, I'm looking at other people and saying, okay, this person definitely has, this person doesn't have this, and I do, right? So I should be happy with what I have because I'm lucky and I did all this and blah, 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 blah. But comparison is a thief of joy. Even if you're comparing to someone who has something or doesn't have something, I don't think it matters. And I feel like currently I'm just not at that place where I fully understand what it means. Because before, my comparisons were from a position of lack, I'd say, from a position of I don't have this, but this person does. And now my comparison is coming from a place of I have this, but this person doesn't. So I'm privileged and I'm lucky and I should be content. But any form of comparison, I believe, should be eliminated, just based off of the fact that comparison is a thief of joy, that quote. But I'm on this journey and I'm here to find out. But yeah, I'd say just what I'm doing right now is just mentally every day taking note of where I am, what I have, what I'm able to do with the things that I have. And it's amazing to just look at my life and be like, man, I've done all these things and I'm healthy, I'm fine. I don't have a hairline, like my nose isn't fucked up, my teeth aren't like messed up. I'm tall, I have a decent body, and I'm smart. I have English as my sort of gateway to the world. But I just need to be a better person because I'm blessed with all these different things. And I'm able to live in Thailand, Bangkok, experience all these different things, meet these new people, and prove myself. I have the opportunity and the resources to come to this place and do these things. So I should be super, super grateful. And just thinking about it every day, especially, I'd say in the past 1 month, I've been thinking about it regularly, not every day, but, even doing that, I'd say it's just amazing to understand where I've come and how far I've come. So I feel like, that's one of the things that I'm starting with right now to feel content. I don't know what the ultimate end point is, to be honest. How does it feel to be fully at peace or to be fully at contentment? I think that's just something that I'll find out in the future. But there are some days where it's easy to get lost. But as long as at the end that achieving inner peace and achieving contentment would lead to you being a better person or to you knowing what to do next, I think having those things in mind, sort of the bigger picture, would help with achieving this small little goal. right? A small little action every single day. So yeah, that's the first part of this podcast, and we're talking about sort of the introduction and what I think about this topic right now. I do have some quotes here that I pulled up from ChatGPT, and I want to read some of them, and I think I just want to sort of dive deep into these quotes. So let's start with the first one. Do not let the behavior of others destroy your inner peace, Dalai Lama. I agree with this. Nothing to say on this one here. It's pretty obvious. Next one is Mahatma Gandhi. Each one has to find his peace from within, and peace to be real must be unaffected by outside circumstance. So basically, this is just a paraphrased form of what Dalai Lama said. But yeah, since it's been mentioned twice, I'll just talk about it a little bit. All right, my microphone got a little fucked up, but yeah. Not talking about peace, but talking about something else. Before, I thought I'm the only person who can give myself happiness. So I need to be the best version of myself, and I need to improve myself. And everything else is just sort of like a plus one to me. And I realized that was not... I think that was okay for, a young person to prioritize themselves over others. But it still means that prioritizing yourself doesn't mean you should hurt others in the process. And that's what I did. I was hurting other people in the process of, improving myself and bettering myself and being a happy person, because I put myself over others, meaning I was selfish in my pursuit of happiness, basically. And I truly don't think that was a good idea, because in the process of finding happiness through the neglect of others, I realized that I only hurt more people than I imagined I would, and I didn't think about it at the time. But I only realized it afterwards. After I hurt these people, I'm like, oh fuck, I kind of messed up. And so I tried to become like this selfless person who was sort of thinking about others more, and that didn't help as much. Although it did help other people, but it didn't help me. And I realized, okay, you know what? I think I need to just understand. It's not about helping others all the fucking time, because no one really can do that. It's you helping yourself. And then as a byproduct, you become this type of person who, through his normal everyday actions, just help other people. And it doesn't mean it's going to significantly affect who you are. It's just going to, make the day for the other person. But, what the fuck was I trying to say? The other people should not have a huge impact on your life, I'd say, unless it's your partner and it's your immediate family. They don't know what kind of life you want to live and what kind of person you want to be sometimes. And I think the person who is closest to you is your partner. And I think that person should definitely be a little bit involved in that process of, just over here trying to help you on, trying to support you from a place of, hey, I'm your wife, I'm your husband, and I'm here to help you stay consistent on this journey, da-da-da. But other than that, I don't think anyone else should really be not even in charge of, but even the cause of your unhappiness or your inner peace or your contentment. Because as soon as you give that power to someone else, I don't think, is it really inner peace, or is it just like someone gave you a little present and you're just happy about it for like a week, So I think you can be easily blinded by these things. Anyways, moving on to the next few quotes. I have three, so I'll just read them all at the same time. It isn't enough to talk about peace. One must believe in it, and it isn't enough to believe in it. One must work at it, highlighting that peace, both personal and global, requires continuous effort. Yeah, okay. All right, next one. If you're at peace, you are living in the present. If you're depressed, you are living in the past. If you're anxious, you are living in the future. So this sort of ties back into what I was saying before at the beginning of this, or talking about the introduction segment, or uh, I was saying that, I was depressed and I was anxious. I was worried all the time. And, it's because you're worrying about the past that you're depressed. And it's because you are worrying about the future that you're anxious. But the thing is, as I said before, and I'll say it again because I feel like this is an important point. I'm not sure how important and how right I am, but it definitely helped me. So I'm just gonna pass on this message. Do with it what you want, but the fact that I was no, not the fact, but because I was thinking about the past and I was thinking about fuck, what did I do? Why did I do this? How did I end up in this situation? You're sort of looking back at all the different experiences and you're trying to put the blame on yourself more, and that's what I was doing. So I won't say you, I'll say I. But I was trying to put the blame on myself and just not point fingers. I'd say not point fingers and say, oh, it's your fault. I was just like, man, there's nothing I could do now, but there's nothing I could do now, and it's gone, it's done. What's done is done. But what did I do before that? Where I fucked up basically, and I was trying to do that for a little bit. Obviously, it was hard not to point fingers at people. I think right now I'm not pointing fingers at the people who have hurt me or that I indirectly hurt or whatever. But when I was depressed, I was just I was a mess and I couldn't help but point fingers, and I was looking back at all these different emotions and different moments I shared with the people I loved, and it fucked me up really, really bad. But at the same time, it helped me come to the place that I am today. I'd say it helped me become the person that I have become today, because if I weren't able to think back on these emotions and reflect whether it was right or wrong, or whether my actions were right or wrong, or whether my words hurt some people or led them to making a decision that I later on thought that was like pure malice towards me, it helped me reflect on these emotions and made me realize, some things happened the way it happened, and there was nothing I could do about it. But there are some things I could have done, right? And there was a period of time where I was sort of regretting some things, and then I chose to just be like, okay, forgive and forget. Try not to think about it as much. Forgive the people who were involved in this process, and also the important thing is forgive yourself, because if you don't look at yourself and say, hey, dude, everyone makes mistakes. You're not the only person making mistakes in this fucking world. Everyone is doing this for the first time. So just forgive yourself. People are living with their own problems. They should learn if they can learn to forgive themselves and forget their own problems, but learn as much as they can from these things and from these experiences. I think people would be individually happier than they are currently, right? So because I was living in the past, I was able to learn these kinds of things, I'd say. And, if you're anxious, you're living in the future, there's nothing wrong with it, I'd say, but it's always a matter of balance, and it's always a matter of just control or maintenance or whatever, right? So if you can balance thinking about the future and planning for the future and not tipping over and getting anxious and feeling super worried and giving yourself a fucking panic attack all the fucking time, I think it's important to think about your future. And that's what I did, because I had this business, I had this whole content creation thing, and I was constantly looking forward into the future, trying to figure out what to do, how to do it, where to go, how to lead people in that same direction that I want to go, etc., etc. But I realized it's really, really difficult to do that. And so I was, constantly just worried about whether it will happen, whether I'll be successful, And, that sort of dragged me to become better and better versions of myself, because I knew that, if I couldn't do it, then it would like fuck me up super bad, and I'll forever see myself as this failure. So I was the anxiousness and the anxiety, that is what drove me to become better and better. I wouldn't say that's the best method, but at that time it just worked for me. I don't know, because I guess this is just what people go through, and I'll probably go through it again at some point, because there will be a time when I need to change and become a better person. But yeah, Anyways, wow. Um, Thinking about the future isn't bad, and planning for the future isn't bad, but there will come a time when you need to learn the balance so that I mean, imagine staying anxious between the ages of 20 and 60. You're not going to survive that long because you'll grow old before you even become old age wise, right? So I think just some people find a coping mechanism, some people really figure it out, some people, I'd say me, I'm taking a break to just sort of figure it out on my own, and then I'll read upon I'll read on some stuff, try to figure it out, da da da. But yeah, so blah, blah. Last quote: peace cannot be kept by force, it can only be achieved by understanding. Yeah. I agree. I don't know what to say about this. I mean, I could sort of break it down, but I don't think I have the knowledge to break it down. So let's move on. There's this one study that I would like to read to you guys, and it says studies show that once basic needs are met, higher levels of income contribute very little to happiness and peace. A study from Princeton University indicated that beyond a salary of around $75,000, increases in income do not significantly impact emotional well-being. Now, I think this is interesting. I don't know how much truth is behind it because I think it differs from person to person. Because imagine there are 8 billion people in the world and you expect that one statistic will apply to every single person in the world. It's not going to happen, but I think it's true. So my salary when I was running my business, it wasn't significant. It wasn't a lot. It wasn't like crazy, but according to my needs, it was more than enough, right? I didn't need any more than what I was making, and anything else I was making was sort of contributing to making me a more greedy person. Or is it sloth? What is it? No. It was greed. What's the other one? It's greed and then gluttony. Yeah. So I think it just contributed to me becoming a greedier and a more gluttonous person. So yeah, I can see how this would make sense. Especially to me, it does make sense, but for some people, maybe it doesn't. Now we're moving on to the last segment of this podcast. It's been around 30 minutes. That's crazy. I've been yapping nonstop for 30 minutes, but I imagine that every single episode will be more or less the same as this. I'm just going to take a look at the questions real quick. What do you think are the most important elements to achieve personal peace and contentment? Are they universal or they vary from person to person? They vary from person to person. So understand that my method will not work with every single person. Listening especially. So just keep in mind that how people reach peace is dependent on their own experiences, their own goals and own aspirations in life. So but I'd say starting off with some kind of philosophy is probably a good idea. I started off with Stoicism, I'd say. That was like the first philosophical that's the first philosophy that I sort of followed at some point to just understand why are people so crazy about it. And that's when I kind of got into this whole thing, right? Anyways, how do you think modern life with its constant connectivity and distractions affects our ability to find peace? Are there practices that can help counter this? Yes. Oof, this is a good one. Man, constant connectivity and distractions are definitely killing your, I'd say, progress to finding contentment. Let's not say peace, okay, because not everyone wants peace right now, but there are a lot of messages online saying, oh, you need to be content, you need to be happy with what you have. And this constant connectivity and distractions, they definitely distract you. Okay, there are some people who look at the lavish lifestyle, the Lambos and the private yachts and trips to the Maldives, to some 5-star resort like $2,000 a night or whatever. Some people look at this and they're like, fuck me, like I'm going to make enough money so that I can afford this kind of lifestyle. Okay, cool. All right. That's going to take away 5 years of your life. I'm pretty sure 5 to 10 years. And even then, will you really be in a comfortable position to do this financially? Will you be free at the time? How are you going to make the money is also a big question. Are you going to scam people? Are you going to trade? Are you going to run an honest business, right? And there are some people who will run an honest business, some people who will scam, some people who will trade. But regardless of what they do, it's going to take years, right? It can take you 3 years, up to 10, up to 20, up to 30, right? So these things, they give you a false sense of, success, because once let's say 20 years down the line, they're 40, let's say, or 45, and they go to the Maldives, but they don't have the youth to enjoy the Maldives. They can't swim every day. They can't party every day. They can't do all these things. So now they're 45, looking back at their life and saying, what the fuck did I do? What the fuck did I spend my life on? Trying to copy the lifestyle of this random dude I saw online. And that's just sad, and people live like this. They definitely do. Because they don't have the privilege to find inner peace. They don't have the resources. They're really in a place where, they're coming from a place of lack. There's a word. They're coming from a place of, I don't have this. So yeah, this constant connectivity and distractions, this will not lead to your inner peace, and this will not lead to your contentment. I feel like only real life experiences and going through them, doing reflections and talking to people in real life, right? Alive, being alive, being active. I think those things will help you achieve it much, much faster. Because when you're on your phone all the time, you're living in a superficial world. You're thinking about all these things that are not even relevant to your world sometimes. So I don't know what kind of practices there are to counter this, but deactivated my Facebook and Instagram. So right now, the only social media I'd say I have is, I have YouTube, but it's not much of a social media. Okay, well, actually, yeah, there are comments. So yeah, YouTube. And then I have Reddit. And then I have WhatsApp for communication. And that's, so far, I'm just trying to keep myself from being distracted by all these things online, right? And I want to find what I just talked about as quickly as possible. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm not sure, do with it do with this information what you will. Last question, and then we're going to finish off this podcast. What are some of the biggest challenges you personally face in maintaining peace and contentment? How do you cope with them? Man, I think I still haven't abandoned some of the things, some of my bad habits from before, and I think that's my biggest challenge. There are some things, I can't live, or I couldn't live without these things before, and now I still kind of believe that I can't live without them. And I'm sort of on a journey to see, because what if I can? What if I can work it out? What if I can figure it out while I'm in this process? And I'm just I don't know if I'm trying to trick myself, or I don't know if I'm on the right path, but there are definitely some bad habits or bad thoughts that I used to have about certain things that are still there, and I haven't abandoned them yet, and those things are definitely sort of dragging me back to who I was before. And old habits die hard, so I'm not too worried about it, but eventually I think it'll get better. Anyways, so that's it for today. Thank you for listening. This is the Deep Dive Podcast. I'm your host, Timulang Kanzuruk. And almost every single episode will be more or less in the same context or the same, I'd say, methodology, such as this episode. And I hope you enjoyed this. I'm a big yapper, and I think, if you enjoyed it. Oh, and also, shout out to the people who created Midnight Gospel, because I was high as fuck listening to them, watching the episodes, and I was like, fuck, this is exactly what I want to do. I want to talk about these things, and I think it's amazing, and I loved listening to it. So if you love talking about these random topics and just diving deep into these things, I suggest going and watching Midnight Gospel. It's really, really insightful, I'd say, but it's really long and sometimes kind of hard to understand. I definitely zoned off in certain areas, but yeah, thank you very much for listening, guys, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye.